Hello, my dear Tax 1 students. Here is a short video recap of what we discussed last few weeks ago. So, guys, karon po siya na ako naugbo itong video, no? Kaya marag, na-assure mo kalit ang PM, no? Uli kuryente sa ila, hinay ang internet signal, isubo pa siya sa iyang mama, ikuha iyang cellphone, no? This would put na stress as an educator. So, hopefully, you can learn at your own pace, and of course, please let me know how can we maximize the use of technology in online learning. So this is also my first time in making a video, so please bear with me. It took me mga 5 hours na naman to make this one. Di okay effort, no? Charot, for the love of teaching. So, ngayon lang nato itong tingog na pinatulog mga kong lola. Hindi ito jud, guys. Time check, it's now 10:08 p.m. So, laban lang dito ano. So, the new normal of society is anything but ordinary. And because of COVID-19, wala talaga tayong magagawa. But we need to stay home, stay safe, and pray for our frontliners. So, our attention right now is on online learning and as a means to deliver instruction to students who are at home like you, and of course, like me. And of course, it's not necessarily bad to push for online learning in the new normal in education. So today, let us start with the basics. Power of taxation. So I have here an outline of the discussion, the coverage of this video presentation. So first, we will be defining taxation. Let's enumerate the 3 elements of taxation, the purposes of taxation, theories and basis of taxation, and finally, what are the principles of a sound tax system. So, to start with, we have the definition of taxation. Ano ba talaga yung taxation, guys? So, pag sabihin natin taxation, it is the power by which the sovereign raises revenue to defray the necessary expenses of the government. It is a power inherent in every sovereign state to impose a charge or burden upon persons, properties, or rights to raise revenues for the use and support of the government and to enable it to discharge its appropriate functions. That which is imposed as a burden is called a tax. So, parati natin yung naririnig, no? Tax, we pay tax. Magkaroon tayo ng sweldo, income tax, mag-donate tayo, donor's tax, pag namatay, yung naiwan, estate tax. No, so, let's look at the very basic core of taxation. What are the 3 elements of taxation, guys? So, here we have the elements. We have here, it is an enforced proportional contribution. So, taxes are assessed under a progressive system and are based on the taxable amount of an individual's income. They follow an accelerating schedule, so high-income earners pay more than the low-income earners. Tax rate along with tax liability increases as an individual's wealth increases. So, kaya nga proportional. If you earn high, you are taxed higher than the others. So, the overall outcome is that higher income earners pay higher percentage of taxes and more money in taxes than do lower income earners. Second is that it is imposed by the state. So, sino ba yung natatax natin? Republic of the Philippines. Okay? Hindi nag-impose ng taxation, hindi nag-impose ng taxes yung mga kaibigan natin. Yung Republic lang talaga, yung Pilipinas lang talaga, of course. And why is that so? Because it is levied for the support of the government and for public needs. So, babaan lang natin to. Ayun. Support of the government and for all public needs. So, how do we use taxes? Or how do they use taxes? Of course, for the construction of roads and bridges, for the pension to our retired government employees and their widow and children, assistance to victims of calamities, diba? Dahil meron tayong pera, we could possibly, we could give yung mga kulang, walang pagkain, lalong-lalo na with COVID-19, merong pera, diba? That is from taxes. in social welfare and healthcare projects. So after knowing the elements of taxation, what are the purposes of taxation? We have actually two main purposes of taxation. One is for revenue raising and the other one is for non-revenue raising. For revenue raising, revenues derived from taxes are intended primarily to finance the government and its activities. On the other hand, on non-revenue raising, we have these four non-revenue raising purposes. So we have here the promotional general welfare, the regulation, reduction of social inequality, and encourage growth. Yan. So, promotional general welfare, regulation, reduction of social inequality. So, when we say regulation, of course, we're quite familiar with promotional general welfare naman, di ba? So, in terms of regulation, taxes may be imposed for a regulatory purpose, for instance, in the rehabilitation and stabilization of a threatened industry which is affected with public interests, like the oil industry. Taxation also has a regulatory purpose, as in the case of taxes levied on excises or privileges like those imposed on tobacco and alcoholic products for amusement places like nightclubs, cabarets, and cockpits. Diba? So, tinatax yun, skin tax, mas mataas. Yung cigarettes natin, ngayon, may mahal na gid siya. So, in a way, the government is also discouraging us to buy cigarettes. Pero may iba na talaga na part of life na nila yung cigarettes, guys. So, hala, sige, kahit na mahal na siya, dahil sa tax, go pa rin ng go, di ba? So next is reduction of social inequality. A progressive system of taxation prevents the undue concentration of wealth in the hands of few individuals. So progressivity is based on the principle that those who are able to pay more should shoulder the bigger portion of the tax burden. And finally, on non-revenue raising purpose is to encourage economic growth, such as a grant of incentives or exemptions to encourage investment, thereby stimulating economic activities. Now, for the theories and basis of taxation, we have three here. Yan. Ito. For lifeblood theory, ito yan. The government chiefly relies to obtain the means of relies on taxation to obtain the means to carry on its operation, because taxes are essential to the government's very existence. Diba? So, taxation is the indispensable and inevitable price for civilized society. Without taxes, the government would be paralyzed for lack of motive power to activate and operate it. So, ano ba yung pambabayad natin sa mga government officials? Galing sa taxes yan. So, the collection of taxes must be made without hindrance if the state is to maintain its orderly existence. And, of course, that is, we also have the necessary theory. The theory behind the exercise of the power to tax emanates from necessity. Necessity. Without taxes, the government cannot fulfill its mandate of promoting the general welfare and well-being of the people. It cannot continue without a means to pay its expenses and therefore has a right to compel all citizens and property within its power to contribute. Oo nga naman, no? Paano na lang yung mga kinakailangan nating bayaran? Without taxes, the government can fulfill its mandate of promoting the general welfare and well-being of the people. And finally, the last theory and basis of taxation is what we call the benefits protection theory, which states that it involves the power of the state to demand and receive taxes based on reciprocal duties and of support and protection between the state and its citizens. So taxes are paid for the enjoyment of the benefits of organized society. Such enjoyment also extends to those members of the state of a state to not pay taxes because they are not able to do so. Di porket wala pong income yung tao at wala siyang binabayaran na tax, is wala siyang nare-receive na benefit, no? Kaya nga, yung reduction of social inequality, kung sino yung mas malaking income, siya yung mas malaking tax na binabayaran. But it doesn't mean na siya lang din yung magbe-benefit sa tax na yon. Okay? Everybody is benefited. Now, to proceed, if that is already clear, we proceed with the principles of sound tax system. Diba? Napirap mag-zoom in, zoom out, guys. So, eto. First one is fiscal adequacy. Okay, yan. Fiscal adequacy. What is fiscal adequacy? The sources of revenues must be adequate to meet government expenditures and other public needs, and this is in consonance with the doctrine that taxes are the lifeblood of the government. Okay? Aanhin mo naman yung tax na, example, yung kinakailangan ng government is mga 100 million. Tapos yung nakuha mo lang na tax 90 million lang. So, kulang pa din. So, uutang pa na naman tayo. Di ba? Hindi yun dapat. So, kinakailangan is adequate lang siya. Okay, adequate to meet government expenditure. Kaya gumagawa sila ng annual budget at sinicheck nila kung tama lang ba or sobra lang ba. Diba? So, may mga taong nag-aaral yan dyan. And yan, mga government officials na pinag-aaralan talaga yan, guys. So, next is the administrative feasibility. Tax laws must be capable of effective and efficient enforcement. They must not obstruct business growth and economic development. So, sa administrative feasibility naman, guys, this principle requires that each tax should be clear and plain to the taxpayers. Diba? Alam ng taxpayer, so magbabayad ng income tax, kaya na di bayaran yung income tax, paano i-compute na income tax, diba? Mga ganon. So, capable, the people, we have well-trained staff of public officials convinced to this time and manner of payment, and not unduly burdensome upon or discouraging to business activity. Kaya ang meron tayong mga tinatawag na quarter payments, guys, or mga monthly payments. So, hindi bulk yung pagbayad ng tax natin until such time na in a year, para na-divide natin yung tax payment natin. So, hindi natin mapansin na, at the end of the year, tapos na pala. Wala na pala akong babayaran na income tax kasi na-withheld naman yon. So, na-program naman yon. Okay? And the last principle of a sound tax system is theoretical justice. So, a sound tax system must take into consideration the taxpayer's ability to pay. Our laws mandate that taxes must be reasonable. Just take note yung mga dito, guys, ha? Keywords. It must be reasonable, just, fair, and conscionable. A sound tax system must be based on taxpayers' ability to pay. Oo nga naman. How about there is a violation? What is the effect of violation of the principles? A tax law will retain its validity even if it is not in consonance with the principles of fiscal adequacy and administrative feasibility because the Constitution does not expressly require so. These principles are only designed to make our tax system sound. However, if a tax law runs contrary to the principle of theoretical justice, such violation will render the law unconstitutional, considering that under the Constitution, the rule of taxation should be uniform and equitable. Diba? Hopefully, guys, may na-learn kayo from this very, very short video presentation. Recap lang naman to. And hopefully, madasig yapon ko buhat o video. Dili ko napagamaan ni guys. And see you next video. Thank you for listening and good night, everyone. Keep safe.